The silver sedan had been following him for 15 miles. Declan Mercer gripped the steering wheel tighter, his knuckles whitening against the worn leather. In the rearview mirror, the car maintained its distance with unsettling precision, never closing the gap, never falling back. Just there, watching, waiting. Dawn was breaking over the Colorado plains, painting the sky in shades of amber and rose that Declan refused to appreciate. Beauty felt like a betrayal this morning. Beauty belonged to a life he was leaving behind. In the back seat, Willa slept with the absolute trust of a 7-year-old who believed her father could protect her from anything. Her small body curled around Peanut, the threadbare elephant she had carried since she was 2. The stuffed animal's button eyes had been replaced twice, its gray fabric worn to silver in patches where her fingers rubbed during thunderstorms and doctor's visits and the long nights after her mother stopped coming home. Everything they owned fit in this car now. A duffel bag, 3 boxes, the colored pencils Willa refused to leave behind, the snow globe from their last family trip to the mountains, when Meredith was still healthy enough to laugh at the fake snow swirling around a tiny ceramic cabin. He had sold the rest. The furniture Meredith chose when they bought their first house, the books she stacked by the bed, always meaning to read. The kitchen table where Willa took her first bite of solid food, where Meredith told him about the diagnosis, where he sat alone for 3 months after the funeral, unable to eat anything at all. All of it gone now, converted to cash that would last maybe 2 months in Boise, where his cousin had a construction job waiting. No references required, just a strong back and the willingness to show up before sunrise. It wasn't the career he had built over 11 years at Cressman Properties. Wasn't the corner office he had earned through late nights and missed dinners. Wasn't the life he had promised Meredith when they stood in that cramped apartment in their 20s, dreaming about college funds and growing old together on some porch somewhere. But it was something. It was forward motion. It was a city where no one knew that Declan Mercer's name had become synonymous with fraud, with scandal, with the kind of professional disgrace that made former colleagues cross the street to avoid eye contact. The sedan accelerated. Declan's heart lurched. His foot hovered between the gas and brake, every instinct screaming at him to floor it, to outrun whatever was coming, to disappear into the vast anonymity of the American highway system. But Willa was in the back seat. Willa, who had already lost her mother to cancer 2 years ago. Willa, who had watched her father's world collapse over the past 6 months without ever asking why, because she had learned that some questions made his face go quiet in a way that frightened her. He couldn't run, not with her in the car. The sedan pulled alongside him. The driver gestured toward the shoulder, a clear, unmistakable command. Pull over. Then the morning sun shifted, catching the driver's face through the window, and recognition hit him like a physical blow. Vivian Hartwell, the CEO of the company that had destroyed his life. Declan pulled over. The gravel crunched beneath his tires as he guided the car onto the shoulder. Behind him, Willa stirred. "Stay in the car, sweetheart," Declan said, forcing his voice calm. "Daddy needs to talk to someone. I'll be right outside the window." He stepped out into the cold morning air. Interstate 70 stretched in both directions, empty except for the occasional truck rumbling toward destinations that didn't concern him anymore. Vivian Hartwell walked toward him. She looked different than he remembered. The press photos always showed her polished, untouchable. But the woman approaching him now wore wrinkled clothes that suggested she hadn't slept. Dark circles shadowed her eyes. She looked almost human. "Mr. Mercer," she said. His name came out like a question, like she was confirming he was real. "What do you want?" 6 months of bitterness compressed into 4 syllables. "I need you to come back to Denver." Declan laughed. The sound was ugly, humorless. "So you can fire me again?" "So I can fix what we did to you." The words hung in the morning air. "Last night," Vivian continued, One of my analysts found something in a backup server scheduled for destruction. Your emails, the ones you sent to Malcolm Thorne and Preston Vance, warning them about the cost discrepancies in the Meridian Heights project. We found them. Declan felt the ground shift beneath his feet. Those emails were ignored. No one ever responded. They weren't ignored. They were deleted. Deliberately. Malcolm Thorne accessed the server and removed them from all primary records. The information settled over him like snow on frozen ground. He had always known he was innocent, but knowing something and hearing it confirmed were different experiences entirely. Who else was involved? Preston Vance. They orchestrated the entire fraud together. The falsified projections, the diverted funds, the decision to make you the scapegoat. They needed someone whose signature appeared on enough documents to make the story believable. Someone who wasn't powerful enough to fight back. Malcolm Thorne, the silver-haired executive who had shaken his hand at Christmas parties, who had sat across from him in the termination meeting with an expression of practiced regret, while security guards waited to escort him from the building. And you didn't know? No, but that doesn't absolve me. I built the system that allowed this to happen. I trusted the wrong people. Vivian paused. I failed you, Mr. Mercer, and I'm here because I want to make it right. Before Declan could respond, the car door opened behind him. Daddy? Willa appeared at his side, peanut tucked under one arm. She looked up at Vivian with unfiltered curiosity. Who's the lady? Someone from Daddy's old work, sweetheart. Willa studied Vivian for a long moment. Her eyes, Meredith's eyes, dark and observant, moved across the woman's face. She looks sad, Willa announced, like you looked after Mommy went to heaven. Vivian's composure cracked, just for an instant. I am sad, she admitted. I made a mistake that hurt your daddy, and I'm trying to fix it. Willa considered this with the gravity of a philosopher. Mommy said everyone makes mistakes, but good people say sorry and try to do better. Your mommy sounds very wise. She was the best. Willa looked up at Declan. Daddy, I'm cold. Can we go somewhere warm? Declan looked at the highway stretching east toward a fresh start, then at the woman who had driven through the night to catch him. There's a rest stop 3 miles ahead. We can talk there. The rest stop was nearly empty. A concrete pavilion with vending machines and picnic tables scattered across struggling grass. Willa sat at one table, her colored pencils creating worlds on paper, while the adults negotiated the real one nearby. Declan positioned himself where he could see her at all times. Vivian laid a folder on the table. Inside were emails, financial records, timeline reconstructions, the archaeological evidence of his professional destruction. Walk me through it, Declan said. Everything. The fraud had been elegant in its simplicity. Malcolm and Preston had systematically understated costs for Meridian Heights, knowing city tax incentives depended on affordable housing remaining viable. They planned to redesign later, converting affordable units to market-rate apartments for millions in extra profit. $8 million had been diverted to offshore accounts. $8 million stolen from a project meant to house families who couldn't afford market rates. Declan's emails, his careful concerns about numbers not adding up, had threatened to expose everything, so they were erased. When fraud surfaced through other channels, his fingerprints were on everything while his warnings had conveniently disappeared. Then Vivian pulled out something that made Declan's breath catch. An envelope, handwritten address, paper yellowed with age. This arrived at my office 18 months ago, she said quietly. 2 weeks before your wife passed away. Declan recognized the handwriting immediately. Meredith's distinctive slant, the way she crossed her T's with a slight flourish. She wrote to me about you, about your concerns with the project. She was worried about what would happen to you. Why didn't you read it? My assistant filed it with hundreds of other letters I never personally reviewed. I found it last night. Declan opened the envelope with trembling fingers. Dear Ms. Hartwell, You don't know me, but my husband works for your company. His name is Declan Mercer, and he is the best man I have ever known. I am writing because I am dying, and there are things I need to say. Declan has been worried about a project he manages. He has tried to tell people something is wrong with the numbers, but no one will listen. He has not failed. He is doing the right thing. But I am afraid the right thing will cost him everything. My daughter is 7 years old. Her name is Willa. When I am gone, Declan will be all she has. Please don't let your company take him away from her too. Sincerely, Meredith Mercer. Declan read the letter 3 times. The words blurred as tears he had forbidden himself from shedding finally escaped. Meredith had known. Even as she was dying, she had tried to protect him, and no one had listened. I'm sorry, Vivian said. I'm sorry I didn't read her letter. I'm sorry my company took a good man and destroyed him while his wife was dying. Sorry doesn't give me back the last 6 months? No, but I can give you back everything else. Your position, your reputation, the truth, made public. A memory surfaced in Declan's mind. She kept backups, he said slowly. Meredith. She was a forensic accountant before Willa was born. When I started worrying about Meridian Heights, she asked me to forward documents. Said she wanted to look with fresh eyes. Vivian's expression sharpened. She might have preserved evidence before it was deleted. There's a box of her things I never went through, in our storage unit. Hope flickered. Dangerous, fragile, but real. A black SUV pulled into the parking lot. Declan was already moving toward Willa when the driver's door opened and Malcolm Thorne stepped out. The former CFO looked exactly as Declan remembered. Tall, silver-haired, impeccably dressed. His face was the kind of handsome that came from expensive dentistry and careful grooming. Declan noticed the GPS tracker visible through the windshield, aimed at Vivian's car. Vivian, Malcolm said, approaching with predatory confidence. The tracker on your car has been very informative. You've been following me? Insurance. His gaze slid to Declan with contempt. Still chasing lost causes. Declan stepped forward. You stole $8 million. You framed me for fraud I tried to prevent. I did what was necessary. You were collateral damage. Malcolm's eyes flicked to Willa. Beautiful little girl. Shame if her father made decisions that affected her future. Declan closed the distance between them. Stay away from my daughter. Daddy? Willa's voice was small, scared. It's okay, sweetheart. Malcolm turned to Vivian. I have fabricated documents showing your signature on approval forms. If you pursue this, I'll release them. The board will remove you. You're threatening me? I'm explaining the situation. His smile widened. Your choice. He drove away, but his presence lingered like smoke. Willa ran to Declan and buried her face in his jacket. The bad man is gone, he murmured. He can't hurt us. He looked at me mean, she whispered. Like kids who said, I don't have a mommy. Declan crouched to her level. Some people are mean because they're scared of good people. That man is scared of Daddy because Daddy tried to do the right thing. Willa looked at Vivian. Are you going to help my daddy? I'm going to try. Promise? Vivian crouched to meet her eyes. I promise, Willa. Willa studied her, then took Vivian's hand. Okay, I believe you. You should come get Mommy's box with us. Declan made his decision. We're going back to Denver, all of us. 3 weeks later, Declan stood in a conference center holding 300 people. Every seat was filled. Journalists occupied the press section. Board members sat in front, expressions ranging from concern to hostile. Malcolm Thorne stood at the podium, radiating confidence. Willa was safe in a nearby office with a trusted colleague. She didn't need to see what was about to happen. The evidence from Meredith's box had been devastating. His wife had saved everything. Copies of his original emails, time-stamped before deletion. Financial analyses tracking discrepancies, And most damning, correspondence between Malcolm and offshore banks, spelling out the fraud explicitly. Meredith had been building a case, protecting him even as she was dying. Declan had wept when he found the USB drive labeled, "For Declan, when you need it." Then he wiped his eyes and went to war. The FBI had been very interested. 3 weeks of investigation, subpoenas, forensic analysis. Preston Vance had been arrested that morning at the airport, trying to flee to Mexico. He broke within hours, confirming everything. Now it was Malcolm's turn. "Ladies and gentlemen," Malcolm began, "I have called this meeting to address concerns about our CEO. It has come to my attention that Vivian Hartwell may have been involved in financial irregularities." The doors at the back opened. Declan walked down the center aisle, followed by Vivian and 2 FBI agents. Malcolm's words faltered. "Mr. Mercer, you're no longer employed here. I'm not here as an employee. I'm here as a witness." Declan handed a tablet to the technician, the screen filled with evidence. 18 months ago, I discovered cost discrepancies in Meridian Heights. I reported concerns to Malcolm Thorne and Preston Vance. My emails were deleted. When fraud was discovered, I was blamed. He clicked to the next slide, his original emails time-stamped. My wife preserved copies before they were erased. She also found communications between Mr. Thorne and offshore banks, showing $8 million diverted to his accounts. The room erupted. Board members shouted questions. Journalists scrambled. Malcolm gripped the podium. "This is fabricated." "Mr. Thorne." An FBI agent stepped forward with handcuffs. "You're under arrest for securities fraud, embezzlement, and obstruction of justice." The room fell silent as Malcolm Thorne was handcuffed in front of 300 witnesses. As agents led him past Declan, their eyes met. "This isn't over," Malcolm hissed. "Yes, it is. My wife made sure of that." Malcolm was led away. For a long moment, Declan stood surrounded by chaos. He felt empty. Not triumphant, just empty. The man who destroyed his life was in handcuffs, and it didn't bring Meredith back. Didn't erase 6 months of despair. But it was truth, finally spoken. Justice, imperfect but real. Vivian appeared beside him. "You did it. We did it. Meredith did it. What happens now?" Declan looked at the journalists who would tell his story, the board members reckoning with their failure. "Now we make sure it never happens again." 1 year later, the park near Crestmont's headquarters had become Willa's favorite place. She ran across the grass with boundless energy, chasing a golden retriever named Henry, a birthday present from Vivian. Willa had insisted on the name, saying he looked like a Henry, and that was that. Declan sat on a bench watching his daughter laugh in a way that had seemed impossible a year ago. Vivian sat beside him, close enough that their shoulders almost touched. "She's happy," Vivian observed. "She is. Finally." "What about you?" Declan considered. Happiness had seemed like a foreign country for so long. "I'm getting there. Some days are harder, but yes, I think I'm happy." The Ethics and Compliance Division he had created had already prevented 2 potential scandals. It wasn't glamorous work, but it mattered. "Thank you for pushing the expanded program through," he said. "Don't thank me. You've saved the company more than Malcolm stole." "And you? Acting out of self-interest?" Vivian was quiet for a moment. "Do you know why I really drove after you that morning? Your father's letter, Meredith's letter. That was part of it, but not all." She shifted to face him. "There's something I haven't told you." Declan waited. 30 years ago, my father stood where you stood. He built Crestmont with a partner he trusted completely. When that partner committed fraud, my father took the blame, lost everything, spent 15 years rebuilding while the man who destroyed him faced no consequences. Her hand tightened around his. "I grew up watching my father fight to restore his name. I swore if I ever had power, I would never let what happened to him happen to anyone else. Then I found out my company had done exactly that. To you. Your father. Did he ever get justice? He died before the truth came out. Heart attack. 3 years after I took over. But he told me something I never forgot. What? That justice delayed isn't justice denied. It's justice waiting for someone brave enough to deliver it. She looked at him with fierce tenderness. I wasn't brave enough to save my father, but I could save you. Declan understood now. This wasn't just about him. It was about redemption, about breaking a cycle that started 30 years before he walked into Crestmont. Meredith would have liked you, he said softly. I wish I could have met her. Me too. He looked at their hands, hers elegant, his calloused from construction work during desperate months. Different worlds, and yet they fit. She would have approved. Meredith always said I needed someone who could match my stubbornness. Is that what this is? Stubbornness? I think it might be the beginning of something else. Vivian's fingers intertwined with his. Willa came running back, Henry bounding behind. Daddy! Vivian! Henry caught the frisbee 3 times. She stopped, tilting her head with serious contemplation. Vivian? Are you still sad? Why do you ask? You used to look sad, like carrying something heavy nobody could see. Now you look lighter. Vivian smiled, really smiled. I'm not sad anymore, Willa. Willa nodded. Good, because happy people should stay together. That's what families do. She paused, then added with matter-of-fact certainty, and we're a family now. You, me, Daddy, and Henry. Mommy would like that. Before either adult could respond, she was running again. Declan felt something shift in his chest. Not pain, but release. Permission. As if Meredith herself had spoken through their daughter, giving blessing to move forward. He looked at Vivian and saw the same realization. Did she just? I think she did. That evening, after ice cream and laughter, Declan tucked Willa into bed. On her nightstand sat the snow globe from their last mountain trip. She shook it gently, watching fake snow swirl. Daddy, do you think Mommy can see us? I think she can, sweetheart. Do you think she's happy? He thought about Meredith's letter, the USB drive, the way she had fought to protect him even as cancer stole her strength. I think she's very happy, because we are. Willa smiled and closed her eyes, still holding the snow globe. Within minutes, she was asleep. In the living room, Vivian waited with 2 glasses of wine. Is she asleep? Out like a light. He sat beside her, close, comfortable, right? Thank you, he said. For what? For stopping. That morning on the highway. For chasing me down when you could have handled everything through lawyers. For being there. Vivian set down her wine and faced him. Thank you for not driving away. For giving me a chance to make things right. Willa convinced me. She's remarkable, like her father. Like her mother must have been. Outside, Denver's skyline glittered. The same city that had broken him. The same city where he had rebuilt himself. Vivian? Stay. Tonight. Tomorrow. And after that. Are you asking me to move in? I'm asking you to be part of this. Whatever this is. This family we're building. Vivian leaned forward and kissed him. Soft and sure and full of promise. That's a yes. Later, Declan lay awake thinking about the journey that brought him here. Meredith came to him first. Her letter, her evidence, her love reaching across death to protect him. She had given him so many gifts. But this final act of protection had saved not just his reputation, but his soul. Then Vivian, the woman who chased him down because a dying stranger's letter in her own father's memory showed her who she wanted to become. She had risked everything to make things right. And finally, Willa. Her resilience, her wisdom, her stubborn belief that sad people needed families and happy people should stay together. A year ago, Declan had been ready to leave Denver forever, ready to disappear, ready to give up. Now he was home, not just in this apartment, home in a deeper sense, home in the knowledge that he was surrounded by people who loved him, who had fought for him. The snow globe on Willa's nightstand caught the moonlight. Somewhere Meredith was watching, was proud. And so was he. Sometimes the hardest thing and the right thing are the same. Sometimes the only way forward is through. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, the endings you fear become the beginnings you need. It was enough. It was more than enough. It was home. The end.